Hi, my name is Gabriella, and welcome to the Merryweather Wool Knitting Podcast. This is my very first episode, my very first attempt at recording a knitting podcast, but I love to watch these kinds of videos or podcasts on YouTube where people talk about their knitting and their projects and what they're creating, what they're making. I love seeing what people do and getting inspired by that, and so I thought maybe I would share a little bit of what I'm doing. Just for fun. Also as kind of like a journal for myself to look back on and see all that I've been making and all that I've done, because it's easy to forget, and I'm trying to get better at recording those things because you can kind of lose sight of them after a while. I live in Germany with my husband and my daughter, who's now 7 months old, and our little cat. I'm from the United States originally, and I've lived here for now 4 years with my husband. He's German, and I love to make things. I love to knit. I love to be creative in the fiber arts world. I love to spin. I've done sewing before and needlework, embroidery, and cross stitch and stuff like that too, but I would say knitting and spinning are definitely my favorite kind of crafts. I think that, knitting and spinning are super meditative and super satisfying in a way that, for me, no other kind of craft has been before. But I love to do all kinds of things, and I'm always ready to try new things. But I love the sense of satisfaction that I get after I finish a project, or even just watching a project progress. I love to watch that. I think it's such a calming kind of a activity. It's also just so much fun to choose fiber and then spin the fiber and then knit it, or just buy yarn and just knit the yarn. I think it's really a joy. I would say that I'm probably, I don't know, I was thinking about this recently as I was watching a podcast actually, and I don't think I'm necessarily a process knitter, even if I think the process is wonderful and I love it, and it is so satisfying. It is such a joy to learn new techniques and to practice them, or just to do it, just to knit and feel the fiber. But I love to see the project at the end, and I mostly do get inspired by the end product that I'm going to be able to wear something. And so, yeah, I'm really, really excited to share that with you. We'll see what happens, but I just thought I would start, and I do have a goal. I'm going to try to make this podcast for 1 year at least. I thought, I want to do something for a year, something new, and this is something which I can definitely do, and I think it'll be good for me to just keep a journal and see if I get to engage with anyone out there who also shares the love of fiber arts. So yeah, here I am. I learned to knit when I was a teenager. I taught myself to knit. I had sewn, and I had taught myself to sew as well, and I had a sewing machine, and I was sewing different things, clothes. I was never very good at it, but I kind of would get inspired and sew something, and I remember I was with one of my sisters. I have 4 younger sisters and a younger brother, but I was with one of my sisters in Joanne Fabrics. I just took her with me, and at that time, I was so passionate about knitting or sewing. I love to sew, and so I wanted to share that with her. And all my sisters can attest to the fact that my personality is kind of like a little, when I love to do something, I want to share that with them. I want to I always wanted to just get them on board with things like that. And so I was like, come on, you can sew. We can get you to sew. And she was just not into that. So I said, okay, let's find something else that you want to make. It's just so fun to make things, we can make things together. So I took my sister to Joanne Fabrics, and I bought her a pair of knitting needles and some wool. And I said, yeah, you could learn to knit. Knitting is cool. Why not? It had never been on my radar really to knit, but I just saw the wool section or the yarn section and with the needles, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. I got her the needles and the yarn just because I was so excited about the idea of her having a love for making something. And so which it sounds nice when I say I wanted to share it with her, but the truth is it was really completely selfish, and I don't even think she really wanted to do it. So it was really actually not, it was kind of rude. me to get her, to like drag her into this with me. But I took her home and I was like, just watch a tutorial on YouTube and figure it out. And she's like, okay, you know, she had never done that before. She's also much younger than me. And so I was like, I'll help you. And I took her and I went on YouTube with her and I found a tutorial on how to knit and how to purl, how to cast on first. And then I cast on for her. I like followed the tutorial for her and cast on for her. And then I started to knit for her. Like I thought, okay, I'll learn how to do it and then I can teach her. And I did teach her and she could do it, but it was clear that, you know, the whole time it was not her desire to learn this. Yeah, that sister, she was reading a lot of books and she was a bookworm, and I am too. I love to read. But she was just in a different world at that time than I was, you know, in that realm. So she kind of was like, okay, she kind of did it, but she kind of left it. And so I started to kind of like want to finish it, wanted to keep going. So I took the yarn and the needles and I just kept knitting and knitting and knitting and purling and purling and purling. And I remember my first project was a pair of fingerless mitts, which I just knit flat. I think it was like maybe stockinette with like a garter edge or I don't know, something. And then I seamed the side and made a little hole for the thumb, and then there were little fingerless mitts. So that was my first project, which was actually supposed to be for my sister. And, you know, that was how I learned to knit. I do come from a family with a lot of creative, artistic talent. You know, my mom is really like an artist. She is. And she also she's crocheted a lot in her life as well. She never taught me to crochet, but I know when I was younger, she crocheted quite a bit, and she crocheted me the most beautiful baby blanket when I was little, which I have in my daughter's bedroom now, and maybe I'll show you someday. It's just like these flowers, and it's super, super sweet, this blanket. But I guess I was never really interested in crocheting, or I never learned. My maternal grandmother is a visual artist. She's a painter, and she makes beautiful works of art. And when I was young, we would always do art projects with her, and that was such a joy to learn. And I think also to experiment with color from a young age, that was just always so much fun. I still have that passion. I love color. And it's sometimes a little bit difficult when I bring that into my, you know, knitting and fiber related projects, because I just have a hard time, you know, being honest about what I'll wear. You know, I'm sure that many people have that same trouble, the same problem, but you know, I love like bright colors. I love pastel colors. I love soft colors. I love like bold colors that don't necessarily fit, you know, necessarily my complexion or colors I wouldn't necessarily wear. And it's difficult because if I make, you know, some piece and I spend a lot of time on it and I just don't wear it, it's a little bit of a shame, because I do like to wear what I make. Sometimes I can give those things as gifts, and my newest obsession is making things for my daughter in colors that I wouldn't really wear, can't really wear. Like pink, you know, I love the color pink. I love rosy colors, like rosy pink and pale pink, but they just don't suit me very well. And so I feel like I don't really end up wearing things that I buy or make in those colors, but my daughter fits her very well. She's a little tiny baby, but as long as I can dress her, I will dress her in beautiful, bright, fun colors, and until she then decides, you know, that she doesn't like them, or when she wants to choose what she wants to choose, then I'll just knit her whatever she wants. But for now, it's a lot of fun to knit those colors and give them to her. It's also good to, you know, if I know someone likes a color that, or wears a color that I don't, or that I like, then I'm very excited to knit something in that color for them. Or spin something and then knit it in that color, because I think I love to spin fiber that's really like wild. I did a project a few years ago spinning this like stellina purple pink crazy yarn, and it was like so much fun, and I knit a shawl out of it, and I gave it to another one of my sisters, and I don't think she ever wore that. It was really crazy, this color scheme, but it was so much fun to make because of the colors. So yeah, back to so that was my maternal grandmother was really the artist, visual artist. And my paternal grandmother as well, I as a very young child, I remember she was a quilter, and she taught me a little bit about how to quilt and how to use a sewing machine, and that was wonderful. It was really fun, and I have a quilt from her which I really treasure as well, and that's really special too. And I know as well my great grandmother I have on my mom's side, she also was a knitter. And I know this sounds like, I feel like if I were to say this to someone, or I've told my husband this and he's like, okay, cool. But honestly, now that I love to knit, it really means a lot to me that she was a knitter, because I have a piece from her that she made for me when I was a baby. It's a little tiny baby sweater with my name in color work written in the back, you know? So I really treasure this piece a lot. And I just, because I know, you know, I can imagine her knitting it with her fingers, and you know, I was just, I don't know, it just means a lot to me. And so I'm sure that other people can relate to that who are knitters and, you know, crafters, that it's just those handmade gifts or those handmade things, they connect you in a really special way, because, you know, every stitch is just a stitch. Someone's thought, someone's intention, someone's work really means a lot to me. So I feel like I'm being pretty chatty, but that's the point of this. So I'm going to continue on, and I don't know if anyone's ever going to see this anyway. So if they don't, then that's okay. I'm going to share with you some things which I'm making and working on right now, some works in progress. But I also brought 2 finished objects that I have recently made, actually. Very, very recently finished, because in the past week or two, because when I started this, I thought, okay, could I just bring like everything I made in the past like 2 months? But I thought that's probably like pushing it a little as far as finished objects, because that's, I don't know. It is my first episode, but I thought I'd just bring what I very recently finished and would show you those things. So first thing I have is a little tiny sweater, little pullover, which I knit for my daughter. They're both baby objects too. So, you know, right now I'm really into knitting the baby things, and these were actually my first 2 finished baby objects. But I'm really inspired by a lot of baby patterns right now. So this is the pullover which I knit. It's just a little tiny baby pullover, and I really, really like it. It's a little bit, you can tell it's kind of worn already because I already put it on her and she's been wearing it. But, you know, it's a little pullover. This is from the Flax pattern. It's free on Ravelry. I'm not the most prolific pullover knitter. I actually, for a long, long time, knit pretty much just socks, like tons and tons of socks and shawls, tons of socks, tons of shawls. And I still have socks and shawls, but I'm really getting into knitting pullovers or sweaters and stuff. I finished a pullover for my husband, and I really just loved that. It was the Gretter, I don't know how you say it, the Gretter pattern. I think it was by Jared Flood, I might be wrong. But it is so beautiful, and it was the first time that I had knit one of these colorwork yoke sweaters, and you know, it was just so much fun to knit something that you see on someone else, or that you can wear like in just every day. I don't know, a shawl you also can wear every day, and socks as well, but socks are a little bit like, you know, hidden, and shawls are kind of like, you know, you wear it when you go out, or maybe you wear it in the house, but it's not like a pullover. It's like a garment, you know. And so I really enjoyed knitting that, and I really enjoyed seeing it on him, and every time he wears it, I'm happy to see it on him. And so I also want to continue that kind of pattern. So I knit this for my daughter, and it's got the flax pattern as a base. I didn't do the garter piece here. There's like a garter strip, I guess, or something on the sleeves, I think, in the pattern. I pretty much just use it for the construction because, as I said, I'm just new at that, and I just used it mindlessly for the sizing, 6-month-old size. I did not gauge swatch or anything, so it could be my gauge, but it is a little bit small, I would say. I mean, not small, but she's 7 months and it fits her pretty snugly. And I think it's supposed to be 6 to 12 months, so, you know, wool stretches. I can wash it again and stretch it out. But I thought, you know, it's a little bit small, but my baby's maybe also big, so I don't know. I'm really, really happy with the pattern, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. The yarn I used is a Homespun House soft sock base, yarn. This colorway is called, I think it was called Plum Creek, or the banks of Plum Creek or something, I think. I know that that's from Little House on the Prairie, but I think that she maybe had a Little House on the Prairie kind of moment there. I don't know, but I really love it. I really love it. And A Homespun House is one of my favorite podcasts as well. And Yarn Dyers, I remember she was one of the first, and it's so cool to see. I think there are quite a few, actually. There are a lot of podcasters who are in Germany, but aren't German. And so, I don't know, it's interesting. I feel like, as an American in Germany, sometimes it feels like a special thing, but it's in the podcasting world, it seems like pretty usual to be living in Germany as an English speaker from, different places, So, yeah, there it is. I love this yarn. I love the colorway. I think it's so precious. This is also an example of a colorway. When I got it, I didn't want to use it for socks. I mean, I probably would have used it for socks. I use a lot of very beautiful colorways for socks, and it's also where sometimes I get out my love of like wild colorways, because socks are just a good place for that. But I just thought it was subtle and it was sweet, and I thought, oh, I would love to use this for something else. And so I think it's really the perfect colorway for a baby pullover. It's got these beautiful speckles. It's got green base, like it's like a light greenish variegated kind of like underneath, like very pale green, pale yellows with speckled yellow and orange and green and red and purple, and not really red, but like pink and purple. It's really beautiful, and I really love it. And then this I put on the borders. This is Regia, just plain Regia, like a neon pink sock waist that I just had in my stash. And I kind of regret putting this on there. Honestly, I think it kind of is, this is so beautiful, and I don't know, the neon isn't my favorite, but I was nervous that I wouldn't have enough of this yarn, because I didn't know how much it would take. So I was like, I don't want to risk it. And so I just thought, playing it safe, I'll put borders on everything, and then it's definitely going to be enough. And it definitely was enough. I could have made the whole thing in this beautiful yarn, but I didn't. And so it is what it is. But yeah, I'm really happy with this pullover, and I love seeing it on my baby. So the next finished object I have is this here. This bonnet is, I don't know who wrote the pattern. I think it's someone pretty obvious. I think it's somebody who I'm like, it's pretty obvious, but I will link it, or you can go on my Ravelry. By the way, on Ravelry, my name is Gabriella K. I'll write it down below, and people share their Instagram. I don't really share my knitting on my Instagram. Maybe I need to make a new knitting Instagram account. Here, this bonnet is a very sweet pattern. It's just a simple lace pattern. I'd never knit a bonnet before knitting this, and I loved, it's so easy, so simple. I mean, obviously, but it just went so quickly. It's so tiny. I feel like all baby projects go by so quickly because they're just so small. And added to the fact that they're small, this was in obviously sock yarn, but this went so quickly, obviously, as well, just because of the size. But this here is in worsted weight yarn, and also went by extremely quickly. The lace pattern is just so intuitive and so much fun, because it's like, this is the kind of lace that's like my favorite. It's just like, it goes, you get in the rhythm of it, and you can just keep on knitting the lace, and it's just beautiful and fun, and it's like not boring. You have some interest in there, but I'm a big fan of knitting lace. I love knitting lace, and especially lace like this. So this was a joy. Yeah, and it fits her so well. She looks so cute. It's a little bit big, and after I washed it, I put it on before I washed it, and now after I washed it, it's grown a little bit, but that's not a problem at all. I think, she's gonna be able to wear it through the winter and into the spring, and maybe even after that, maybe next year, even if I block it a little bit bigger, I think she can wear it even then. Although I want to make another one of these, maybe in kind of like a straw color, like a kind of a yellowy color, like a natural straw kind of color, you know. I think that would be super, super sweet. Yeah, I really like this. I really love this project, and it's super fun. It's also nice because it's lace, so I feel like, you know, for the not super, super cold days, it's not like a super warm wool hat. Although wool is really like, you know, you can wear a pretty intense wool hat, especially on a baby's head with no hair, and stay fine. But I feel like it's a nice, comfortable little piece. Yeah. Yeah, I made a little mistake. There's like a little piece, and don't look too closely at my work. I'm not a perfectionist at all. I know many people are perfectionists or are super professional and really do their work well, but for me, I'm not. I don't really mind the little errors. Like, look here, I need to like fix this up here, and but I don't know. I don't mind. For me, I'm more like looking at the big picture than looking at the details. So those are my two finished objects, very recently finished. I just thought, you know, I'd show them to you because they're kind of a good example also of where I'm at in a certain kind of part of my knitting life right now, which is, you know, I'm not actually knitting anything for a baby right now, but I love these little projects for babies, these colorful projects, and I think I'm gonna probably continue that for a while. Yeah, and so here I am. The next thing I want to show you what I have on the needles. I have this here. This is the Campside Shawl by Alicia Plummer. I've already knit it once before for myself. I knit it a few years ago for myself, and I really like it. Oh no, what is the name of this yarn again? Oh yeah, it's Morocco Ultra Alpaca Light yarn. You probably know this yarn, pretty, you know, not super, super fancy, not super, super special, but a wonderful yarn, very warm, very cozy. I've been so happy with my campsite in this, and campsite's just so fun and so meditative, and like, I don't know, I like it. There's a little texture to it, and it's just a very basic, very quickly knit, cozy shawl. And I think I'm gonna give this as a gift because I just wanted to knit. I actually had this yarn, I had bought this yarn quite a long time ago, but I'm gonna give it as a gift. And I'm actually almost finished with it as well. It really knit up super quickly, but here you can see the little tiny, bigger to bigger to bigger, you know, little eyelets, or yeah. And then now I'm on the border. I just started the border, which is just a 2x2 rib border. Yeah, I love it. I really am happy with it. This color, by the way, is called, I think it's called like moss or peat moss or something like this. It's just this green with yellow yarn. I think it's a beautiful color. I have a couple ideas. I have someone in mind who I want to give this to, and I think she'll be very happy with it, and it'll look very good on her. So hopefully she likes it. And yeah, that's my shawl project on the needles. And right now I only have one other project on the needles, which I just cast on a few days ago, which I love and love so far. And that's this here. That's the balloon jacket, I think, by Petite Knits, the balloon jacket. Uh-oh, there you go. There you see my ends. This is, I guess, the not right side to show you. It looks like there's a hole there, but I think it's because I had my progress keeper in there, so it left a little, pulled down a little bit, which should go away when I block. But look at that, it's super beautiful. I mean, you can't see in the camera very well, actually, the color. I feel like the color it's a little washed out. It's a little bit, everything's a little bit washed out in the camera. Here, even me, I look pretty, like, the light is shining pretty intensely. But this is the yeah, the balloon jacket by Petite Knits, and this is in the color, this is in Cascade yarn and Filcolana mohair yarn, and held double, and I love it. I just saw this jacket and I thought it looked so cozy, and it looked so warm and just easy to throw on, and I just really wanted to knit something like that. And it's so easy, it's just straight up garter stitch the whole body, so it's going by super quickly, added to the fact that it's like worsted weight held double with something else. It's going by so quickly, and it's just so satisfying to see it progress. It's really motivating. and I hope that I have this done before the first Advent, because I would love to wear it in December, and I would love to have kind of like an Advent project that I've knit. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I really love this sweater. I really was like, you know, I've not ever knit a sweater for myself to completion. I started one a few years ago, really I think like 5 or 6 years ago, and I made a huge mistake in the cable section, and I guess I didn't notice it until much later, and I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, and I looked back at it, and I am not one to pull things out, and I know this is probably gonna have to change in my life, or I'm gonna have to shift that, but I just don't like pulling things out. It's really demotivating for me. So rather than pulling it out, I finished the whole body, and I just decided to leave it there and just leave it. And I thought, I'll get it, I'll finish it at some point, and I didn't. I did not. I brought it with me when I moved to Germany, and I had it in a bucket, like in a big, you know, tub, and I just never finished it. And I am now, actually, though, this last week, I decided to finish it. But I feel like I'm going on a tangent here, but I actually recently thought, you know, I want to finish this project because I have that sweater. I can wear it. I'm not gonna rip it out. I'm not gonna fix it. I'm just gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish the little collar. I'm gonna finish the arms. It's gonna go by so quickly because it's like a cropped sweater. It's like in worsted weight yarn. It's like a cropped, tiny little pullover. It's little, and I'll finish it in no time. But I had no motivation for the longest time. So I'm gonna finish it now, and I'm gonna wear it. But that was my first attempt, and I didn't even complete it. So this is actually my first real project for myself, as far as a sweater or a jacket or a cardigan or anything like that. And I really love it, and I'm so excited about it. The color, which, you know, as I said, you can't really see it well. I mean, I feel like you can see it better here. It's like a very rich red, orangey red, warm colorway. It reminds me a lot of like the fall leaves, the red, rich red, fiery autumn leaves, and that's what I wanted for the color when I was deciding on the color for this sweater, because I saw the pattern and I wanted to knit the pattern. I didn't have any yarn for it, so I had to get some yarn for it. I was like, you know, should I knit it in a neutral, like in a natural color, you know? And I kind of thought about that, but I felt like it was a little bit boring. And I do like knitting in neutral, natural colors, but I just wanted something a little bit more than that. And I do actually wear like a lot of black and white and gray and stuff like that. So I feel like this will look good with whatever top I wear or whatever clothes I wear with it. And this can just be thrown on anything. Oh, I really love it. I think it's gonna be a staple for me. And I know I'll wear this color. This is totally my color. And I'm really excited about it. I also, you know, I'm glad that it's a cardigan, because I'm in like a phase of life where I need something I can take off and put on, and like that opens up, because it's just, you know, I was pregnant, nursing. It's like, you know, a lot of things happen if your belly's growing. I don't know, you know, if I have another baby in the next couple of years, I don't know, I thought I can wear this through it all, you know, as a sweater, as a jacket. And so that was also a bit of a draw to this beautiful pattern. So that's it. That's my balloon jacket, and I'm really excited about this project. I've also never before knit with mohair and worsted weight yarn together, or any yarn actually with mohair. I've never knit mohair at all, and I love the feel of mohair with something else. Like, you know, Cascade is just, you know, it's okay, but it's like, I don't find it particularly soft, you know. So with this mohair, it just makes the process so cozy and cloudy. Like, it's just like a cloud, like a squishy cloud. I can just like snuggle up with it, and I adore it. And I feel like it's just so beautiful. I also needles I'm knitting it on. I'm knitting it on a little bit of a smaller gauge than the pattern calls for, just because my preference, I don't know, I want it a little bit tighter, and The pattern itself I think is quite oversized, and I don't mind if it's a little bit less oversized, so we'll see how it turns out. But the pattern also seems like one that's really forgiving, so yeah, I'm excited. I hope that I have enough yarn for it. I might have bought a little bit too few skeins, but we'll see. I can always get more. It's the standard kind of colorway. I feel like it should be fine. Maybe by the time I finish the body, or maybe go up to the top, I'll know really how much, if I'm gonna need to buy more or not. But we're excited about this project. I'm so excited about it, and I hope that I'm not talking your ear off too much. But anyway, what else do I have here to show you? Oh yeah. Okay, so my spinning project right now, which, I mean, ever since I started this balloon cardigan, I've not been working on it that much, is this beautiful, but I've been doing my drop spindle. I actually just have drop spindles now. I had a spinning wheel as well, but I haven't been using my spinning wheel very much. And here's my drop spindle. So I've been using this drop spindle. This is one, I don't even know what the weight of this is. I just am using it. It's a funny one I got on Etsy a few years ago, and I just like it. I think it's very comfortable. It's big. It's not the most liked thing, you know, it's not like the most fine, fancy drop spindle, but it works and it's nice. So here it is. I've only done a little bit. Hopefully there's more to show you next time, but I've just started. Let's see if you can see that. I've been plying on the fly, which is something I really, really like to do. I really like plying on the fly, just because I feel like I'm a little impatient and I like the product of that, especially for this kind of, I'm thinking this is more of like a rugged, kind of fluffy, earthy, rustic kind of a yarn that I'm making here. It's also very uneven, as you probably saw, but I'm also not a perfectionist in that. I like to spin, and I like when there's variation. You know, just a little bit of variation makes it really cool. I like the way that looks and the way that feels. I guess it's kind of like a fingering sport weight here, but I really, really like this, and I am excited to continue. This is the roving the braid from which I'm spinning it. Super, super beautiful. I really, really love it. As I said, it's a little bit washed out in the camera. Everything's a little bit too brightly lit, so everything looks a little bit more pale than it actually is in this camera. But that you get an idea of the shades. It's this greens, like bright greens and darker greens and earthy browns, like, you know, olivey browns, peachy salmon colors, all together in this BFL. I don't know the exact combination here, but it's like just a BFL braid here, and I really, really, really love it. I think it's beautiful, and I'm excited to see the finished project. I don't know what I'll use this yarn for, but I'm excited about it, and I think it's beautiful. So yeah, that's my spinning project. Anyway, thank you so much for bearing with me as I recorded my very first knitting podcast ever. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you, had fun watching and joining me as I talk about knitting, and I would love to hear if you enjoyed it or not. If you have any feedback for me at all, if anyone watches this, I'd love to hear it. But I hope that you have a very, very good day and enjoy your knitting and your projects and are inspired by whatever is in your life. I'm going to continue this podcast. I'm not sure how often, at least once a month, but I'm going to try to do it more often depending on how much knitting I get done. But yeah, it's been a bit of a rocky road for me here. This first podcast, I feel like, I'm not the most articulate yet. It's a little uncomfortable in front of a camera, but I'm gonna get used to it, and I'm getting used to it, and it's just fun. So yeah, we'll see. If you have I would love to hear anything. If anyone watches this, please leave me a note. I would love to hear from you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.